Hello my visionaries! Today is day 11 of my 90-day video challenge, and if you were with me yesterday, you know that I began my adventure with the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Yesterday I read through about half of the introduction just to give an idea of what the book is about, what the author's perspective is, and what you can gain from going through the lessons in the book. I only did about half because I'm trying not to make these videos too long each day, but yesterday and today will be a little bit longer than normal just because I'm adding just a little bit more, trying to give you the information from the introduction. So I was going to finish reading the introduction and then give you just a little bit of information on my plan for going through the rest of the lessons. Okay, so here we go with the rest of the introduction. 100,000 people bought and used the book, then 200, then 1,000,000, and then more. We heard of and occasionally helped initiate The Artist's Way's use in hospitals, prisons, universities, human potential centers, and often among therapists, doctors, AIDS groups, and battered women's programs, not to mention fine art studios, theological programs, and music conservatories. And of course, always passed hand to hand, mouth to mouth, heart to heart, artist to artist, as a form of first aid and gentle resuscitation. Like a miraculous garden, the Artist's Way continued to grow and grow and grow, and it is still growing. Just this morning I received in the mail a newly published book and a thank you. To date, The Artist's Way appears in nearly 20 languages and has been taught or recommended everywhere from the New York Times to the Smithsonian, from SLN to elite music studios at Juilliard. Like AA, The Artist's Way's clusters have often gathered in church basements and healing centers, as well as in a thatched hut in Central America and a python-surrounded shack in Australia. Did I mention the many therapist-run facilitated groups? They do. People heal because creativity is healthy, and practicing it, they find their greater selves. And we are all greater than we can conceive. I wanted the Artist's Way to be free, and like the 12-step movement, largely leaderless and self-taught, growing through simplicity and lack of control, performing its expansion through an easy does it series of natural, call it seasonal, self-evolving checks and balances. It will guard and guide and fix itself from abuses, ran my approach. As we passed the 1,000,000 mark, I feared for the necessary time and privacy to make my own art, which, without personal experience, I could not continue to help others. How could I write a teaching book if I had no fresh insights as to what to teach? Inch by inch, I retreated to the solitude of my personal creative laboratory, the still, quiet place within myself where I could make art and learn from the making of it. Every piece of art I made taught me to teach. Every year I worked, I taught that the creativity was open-ended. There was no upper limit. Although some growth was slow, faith was the required ingredient. I began to write dispatches, short, poignant books aimed at disarming the real and present dangers of trying to make a sane and gentle creative life. I wrote The Right to Write, Supplies, and other more homely and gentle guides such as The Artist's Datebook, The Artist's Way Morning Pages, and my prayer books aimed at creating a sense of safety and well-being for those who tread the creative path in this world. I wished for people good cheer and good companions. Although art was a spiritual path, it could be best trod with fellow pilgrims, and people listened. Meanwhile, the Artist's Way books were mandatory on certain tour buses, in the music scene, included on savvy set decor on films, mailed off to and from grandmothers blooming brightly in their sturdy dotage, and served as a bridge for many successful artists to change creative habits and genres. As for myself, a novel, a short story collection, and 3 plays found firm footing amid the publishing of 17 books, and continuing, carefully, to both make art and to teach. My students won prizes, and so did I. Utne Reader chose The Artist's Way as a masterpiece. The poetry album I made with Tim Weeder was selected for Best Original Score, and my teaching books continue to appear on bestseller lists and editor's choice lists throughout America and the world. Is it any wonder I often felt dazed and confused, overwhelmed by the velocity of people and events? It is one of the ironies of a celebrated writer's life that our natural inclination to sit alone behind a desk becomes more and more difficult to pursue. My own morning pages were an invaluable continuing source of guidance. I was told both to seek solitude and to reach for the companionship of other artists who believed, as I did, that they were always led by both the great Creator and by those who have gone before us, treading their artist's way and loving the same forms of art that we do. Higher powers stand ready to help us if we ask. We must remain ready to ask, open-minded enough to be led, willing to believe despite our bouts of disbelief. Creativity is an act of faith, and we must be faithful to the faith, willing to share it and help others, and be helped in return. Outside my window, out over the Hudson, a very large bird is soaring. I have seen this bird for days now, sailing on the fierce winds that are the slipstream around this island. It is too large to be a hawk. It is not shaped like a gull. The Hudson Valley is full of eagles higher up. I cannot believe this is one, but it seems to know exactly what it is. Eagle. It doesn't tell me its name. It wears it. Maybe as artists we are such birds, mistaken by ourselves and others for something else, riding the current of our dreams, hunting in the canyons for commerce, for something we have seen from higher up. For artists, a wing and a prayer is routine operating procedure. We must trust the process and look beyond results. Artists throughout the centuries have spoken of inspiration, confiding that God spoke to them or angels did. In our age, such notions of art as a spiritual experience are seldom mentioned, and yet the central experience of creativity is mystical. Opening our souls to what must be made, we meet our Maker. Artists toil in cells all over Manhattan. We have a monk's devotion to our work, and like monks, some of us will be visited by visions, and others will toil out our days knowing glory only at a distance, kneeling in the chapel, but never receiving the visitation of a Tony, an Oscar, or a National Book Award. And yet, the still, small voice may speak as loud in us as in any. So we pray. Fame will come to some, honor will visit all who work. As artists, we experience the fact that God is in the details, making our art, making our artful lives, making our art we meet firsthand the hand of our Creator. The first time I read this book and the first time I read that introduction, I cried like a baby. I cried because it touched me. It touched a place inside of me that totally resonated with everything she had to say. And the rest of the book is very poignant and pretty touching, especially if you are a person who is looking to discover your creativity, or if you remember a time when you felt creativity all throughout you and around you and now feel so disconnected from it that you couldn't possibly find it if it was sitting right in front of you. So hopefully you'll join me on this little adventure that I'm doing with The Artist's Way in rediscovering, or reconnecting rather, with my passion and creativity, passion for art and all things creative. And this will conclude these long videos, hopefully. What I'm going to do is probably once a week I will devote to what I've been learning throughout the week in The Artist's Way. That'll happen for the next 12 weeks, and maybe I'll even do quick little videos here and there to show you what I've been working on, give you some insight on my little creative projects along the way. If you have any feedback or have any comments, or if you want to share with me your ideas from what I've read so far and what I've shared with you so far, please feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear about your creative adventures or your adventure to try and reconnect with your creativity, or to bring more creativity into your not-so-creative life. And if you'd like to know what all these videos are about, or what I'm about, or learn more about me and what I'm working on, there will be links below this video to be able to connect with me in a couple of different ways, and I would love to share my adventures with you and learn more about yours. Alright, that is the end of this introduction, and on the next Artist Way video I will bring you the first lesson in the 12-week program. And on tomorrow's video, who knows what I'll be talking about. I hope you'll join me then, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.